Hey friends! I'm Fran, a Las Vegas-based flight attendant for an ultra-low-cost carrier here in America. And today on this video, I will teach you 15 flight attendant terms that you probably don't know about. Let's start off with number 1, base. Your base is where you report and get released from work. Basically, like I said, I am a Las Vegas-based flight attendant, so whenever I go to work, I go to the Las Vegas airport. Number 2, commuting. So you know how when you commute to work, you drive to work, and for us flight attendants, if you get hired with an airline and you get based in a city that you don't live in, you don't necessarily have to move to your base. You can commute with an airline to get to your base to report to work. Number 3, trips. It pertains to the number of days that you are away from base for work. Trips range from 1-day trips up to even 14-day trips in other airlines, but for our airline, we usually have 1 to 5-day trips, depending on the base and depending on the operational needs of our company. Number 4, I have turn. So a turn is a flight going to and coming back from a particular city. So if you hear someone saying that I have a San Diego turn, it means that I am working from my base to San Diego and then from San Diego and back. Just turn around, that's it. And up next, I have legs. Woo. No, that's not the legs we're talking about. Legs, as flight attendants, we are actually pertaining to flight segments. So if, for example, I say I have a 4-leg day, I come from Vegas, and then I go to Denver, and then I go to Phoenix, and then I go to Denver again, and then I go to Vegas. It has 4 segments. It has 4 legs. It is a 4-leg day. Number 6, I have report time. So report time is a time that a flight attendant has to show up for work. So like regular jobs, you're 9 to 5, you have to be there by 9. For us, it depends on the airline and their contract, but for us, usually it is an hour before the scheduled departure of a flight. So if your flight, for example, to Denver leaves at 8 in the morning, your flight attendants have to be at the airport at least an hour before that, which is 7 a.m. That is our report time. Number 7, flight time. Flight time for flight attendants is the actual time you spend in the air. When you book your ticket online, you usually see that a San Diego flight is about an hour. But whenever you get to your plane, you hear a captain, your flight attendant, saying that it is a 45-minute flight. You're like, wait, I thought it's an hour. Oh, so it's fast. No, it's still about an hour, but the actual flight time that we mean is the amount of time that you spend in the air. It doesn't include the time that your plane gets out of the terminal and taxis off to the runway, which is usually more or less 15 minutes. It depends on what airport and how many flights are leaving at that time. Number 8, I have release time. It is the time we get released out of work. Whenever a flight gets to its destination, it doesn't mean that flight attendants are off. We are still on duty until everyone leaves the aircraft and we tidy up the plane. For our company, it usually is about 30 minutes after we open the main cabin door. Number 9, duty period. It is the length of time from you started until you ended your shift that day. Or doesn't mean really that it's the same day. It could be overlapping into the next day if you're on a red eye. Number 10, block hours. So block hours vary from airline to airline, but basically it is the total number of hours that the main cabin door is closed. For other airlines, it could also be when they release the parking brakes and hold it, or when the engine turns on and turns off. So it is the basis for a flight attendant and a pilot's wage. Say I am working a flight from Vegas to San Diego, and it is scheduled to be an hour of flight. But like I said earlier, report time is an hour before the flight leaves. So say 7 a.m., get to the airport, 8 a.m., fly over to San Diego, 9 a.m., get to San Diego, 9:30, you're done. And then from 7 a.m. till 9:30, that is 2.5 hours, right? You would think that I would get paid for 2.5 hours. No, baby. Listen, we only get paid for the time that the door is closed. We only get paid for our block hours, which is that 1 hour. So during boarding, if a flight is delayed, we're not getting paid. Number 11, layover. So layover for flight attendants and pilots, it's staying over another city after a day of work. Again, depending on the airline, it can be even longer than 48 hours, and depending on your trip as well, and can be as short as 10 hours. The layovers that we have is the in-between periods of time that we spend out of our base and not actually working. So if I say that I have a 10-hour layover, it means that I'm in town for 10 hours, but that doesn't include the amount of time that it takes to get from the airport to the hotel and then get settled in, wash up, and then sleep, and then wake up, and then get ready, and then be there on time for the van or the shuttle going to the airport, and then walking through the airport, getting to the gate for your report time. Yeah, if someone has a 10-hour layover, it's not really that much of a rest. Number 12, seniority. Most of you are probably already familiar with the term seniority and how it is for companies, but it is very, very important in the airline industry. Like, the longer you stay with a company, the better your position will be. For me, it is how the company prioritizes your personal preferences. Like when you bid for trips, your days off, your vacation, your leave, that's just how it's been. So if you have been with a company for about 25 years, you're pretty senior. And if you've been with us for 5 years, at least for my airline, 5 years is pretty senior already because we were growing so fast before this pandemic happened. But again, seniority is very important in an airline. So the sooner you start, the better, because the longer you stay with an airline, the better your benefits will be. Number 13, reserve. So when you're a reserve flight attendant, it actually just means you're an on-call flight attendant. Being on call, you usually have a month schedule. You know the days that you are on call, and depending on your airline, it could be a 12-hour reserve day or a 24-hour reserve day. If your airline has a 24-hour reserve day and it shows in your schedule that you are on reserve from January 1st to January 3rd, so that's 3 days, and you're on call for 24 hours, so anytime during that period they can call you and schedule you for a trip. But if it's 12 hours or 13 hours, there will be like shifts and they can only call you during that period of time in those 3 days. Almost every flight attendant has been on reserve when they started, and it depends on your airline and how much your base is growing that you can actually get out of being a reserve flight attendant, which leads me to my next term, which is a line holder. A line holder basically is a flight attendant who has a better quality of life because you have your month schedule, but you know where you are going. You know what time you have to be at the airport, you know which layovers you'll have and how long it'll be and who your crew will be, and they can plan ahead. But for reserves, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I have to get to the airport in 2 hours and I'm going to St. Louis. As a line holder, you are more in control of your hours and your schedule. Lastly, number 15, I have Deadhead. I have actually mentioned this on one of my previous videos, but basically it is to travel on company business. Like, you are being paid, but not actually doing your regular work duties. If you hear someone say that I'm just deadheading, it just means that the flight attendant is not working but getting paid. And actually, number 16, the next flight attendant. which is you, baby. If you've come this far in the video, you probably are very interested in being a flight attendant or in the aviation industry, and I hope that this video helped you. And if you have any other suggestions and questions, leave it in the comment box below. Or maybe I will make it my next topic of my video. So if you like this video, don't forget to press like and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. And I'll see you back in the skies when Fren flies. Bye!